Tonight we visit the original two-team complex in the Valley of the Sun. We are at the Peoria Sports Complex, the home of the Seattle Mariners, and tonight the San Diego Padres, who will host your Texas Rangers for a little late-night Cactus League baseball here from the Valley of the Sun, our third night game of the year. It's John Radigan and Tom Grieve here as we get you ready for a little spring training baseball, and tonight Michael Kirkman takes the mound. He's been paired with Colby Lewis. Colby threw back at the complex in a minor league game today, so Michael Kirkman gets the start tonight.
Yeah, earlier it was easier to pair everybody because they were only throwing 3 innings or so. Now that they're stretched out, it's tough to pair the starters, but there's still spots to be won in the starting rotation. Michael Kirkman is still very much in the mix. He's pitched very well in spring training, so has most of his competition. We say it every time. Every night's important. This is a huge night for him. It's a perfect night for baseball. You're playing in the other team's ballpark. They'll have a lot of their regulars. We've got a lot of our regulars getting close to the end. It's starting to imitate regular season baseball. So it's a big night for him and a big opportunity.
It is St. Patrick's Day, and the Padres will wear their green caps in honor of the wearing of the green on St. Patrick's Day. So we are just about ready for baseball here. In fact, it's time to play ball, y'all. Opening lineups and first pitch are coming your way next. Texas Rangers baseball on TXA 21 is brought to you by Ford. The biggest, the best, the one you don't want to miss. It's Truck Month, only at your Texas Ford dealer. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, ultimate reward seats, and no blackout dates. And a beautiful night for baseball in Peoria, Arizona, as we get you set for another Cactus League game between your Texas Rangers and the green cap-clad San Diego Padres. A nod to St. Patty's Day, and look at there, Jorge Cantu, who will be in the lineup for the Padres tonight, and who, of course, was a big player at the end of the season for the Rangers a year ago. And here's the starting batting order tonight for Ron Washington's team. Kindler. Elvis Andrus gets a night off. He's got the most at-bats of anybody in the spring, so Andres Blanco is there for him. Josh will be in left, Adrian back at third base. Michael's at first tonight. Yorvit Torrealba is the catcher because Yorvit's the DH because Taylor's catching, and then you've got David Murphy and Julio Bourbon also out there in the outfield, and they'll all be facing Clayton Richard tonight. who's making just his second start of the spring after being sidelined for 10 days with a sore shoulder. So he's kind of behind the curve a little bit here, Tom.
Yeah, and he's a good lefty. He came over from the Chicago White Sox in the Jake Peavy trade. He was 14-9 last year. He made 33 starts. Had a good solid season. Pitched over 200 innings. And John, you should be familiar with him as a University of Michigan boy.
Yeah, Michigan guy. I was thinking the same thing about you. And he was a two-sport star at Michigan, actually. He was Mr. Football and Mr. Basketball in his senior year in the state of Indiana. And this one is bounced to shortstop as Ian Kinsler goes down with the first out of the game. Mr. Football and Mr. Basketball. And what other distinction do you think a guy like that might have in his senior year in high school?
Prom king?
Yeah, probably that too. And valedictorian.
Wow.
It's like these kids that get it all. You know, this kid is the valedictorian, Mr. Football and Mr. Basketball. And this is the defense that will be behind him. There are some new men out there. Cunningham's in left. Maybin just came over this year. He'll be in center field. Denorfia is out there in right field. And then you got Chase Headley, Jason Bartlett, Orlando Hudson, who came over from Minnesota, and Brad Hopp, who was also a new man in the lineup for Bud Black and the San Diego Padres. And Andres Blanco in for Elvis Andrews today, and he fouls that one off. Nick Hundley is behind the plate tonight. He was a backup to Yorvit Torrealba last year. Yorvit now with the Rangers and playing designated hitter tonight.
You know, when you make a trade for one of your star players, Jake Peavy, you're going to get a number of young players back. And San Diego got a number of young players back. And out of that group, whether it's 3, 4, or 5, you hope that a couple of them hit at the big league level. And they definitely hit with Clayton Richard, winning 14 games and throwing 200 innings for him last year. They definitely picked up the slack that they lost from Jake Peavy. And the reason you get numbers is because you can't guarantee they're all going to get to the big leagues. You don't know which one it's going to be. So you get a group of them, and you hope that 1 or 2 of them get there.
153 strikeouts for him last year, too.
Yeah, that's a good season. And then if you're the Rangers and you make a trade for Mark Teixeira, you might even end up with something better than that, like an all-star closer and an all-star shortstop.
And there's a strikeout as Andres Blanco goes down looking, and there are 2 outs in the inning. And in his second outing of the spring, Clayton Richards off to a pretty good start as he now faces Josh Hamilton, lefty against the lefty, and Josh has been hot lately.
Elvis Andrus is the all-star shortstop, obviously. Neftali Felice, the all-star closer. And Matt Harrison could very well be in the starting rotation this year. That's 3 of the players the Rangers got from the Braves.
And the amazing thing, when you remember the beginnings of that trade, and you know, nothing, no disrespect at all to Jared Saltalamacchia, but that was the big name that came over in that trade, was that they were getting a frontline catching prospect, and it's these other guys who have come through in a much bigger way. Well,
yeah, no one had heard of the other kids because they were minor league players. Salty had already gotten to the big leagues, right straight from Double-A. So that's when you make a trade like that, that's what you hope to get. And when you do, it can turn your whole franchise around. And you can make a case that that trade was directly responsible for a lot of the success the Rangers enjoyed last year.
Big wave and a miss by Josh Hamilton, and the side is retired in order. 1, 2, 3 go the Rangers in the first. Let's see what Michael Kirkman can do when he takes the mound in the bottom half of the first inning. On TXA 21.
Saturdays.
Michael Kirkman makes his first start of the spring tonight for the Texas Rangers. He's been paired with Colby Lewis to this point, so it's his first A-game start of the spring, and this is the batting order which he will face. Bartlett, also a new man in the order. D'Onofrio. Orlando Hudson's new. Jorge is too, as is Brad Hopp. Chase Headley came up through the organization. Cameron Maben was a free agent pickup, and Nick Hundley and Aaron Cunningham round up the Bud Black batting order, which is full of some regular players tonight and guys that they expect to be there on opening day, in part because the Padres had yesterday as their only off day of the spring. For the Rangers, that is next Tuesday, and for the Padres, it was yesterday. Kirkman now. Bartlett to swing at that one. He's ahead of him 0-2. Fouls that one over towards the right field line.
That's why it's in front of that first base.
Bartlett with the Rays last year, as remember, started 124 games for Tampa Bay. All at shortstop. Ironically, he was originally drafted by the Padres way back in 2001 in the 13th round. And this one is grounded in the hole at short. Andre Blanco with a great stop and a throw from his rear, but can't quite get enough on that thing. Good play by Taylor Teagarden to back it up, and it's an infield single to start things off by Jason Bartlett.
And Bartlett's a good pickup for San Diego. I know when Tampa Bay picked up Bartlett, they felt like he played a big role in the success of their team. Last year wasn't the same kind of year he had 2 years ago. He had 320 in 09. Last year was 254, but he's a solid shortstop, guy that makes contact, and if he bounces back a little bit from last year, approaches what he did in 2009, Padres are going to be real happy with him.
Andres Blanco wipes a little bit of the dust off of himself and some of the infield dirt, and now it's Michael Kirkman against Chris D'Onofrio. I should say. 387 average so far in the spring. Kirkman chases Bartlett back. We are just underway in Peoria, Arizona. Beautiful night for baseball. Slightly breezy tonight. Much more wind out here today than we have seen throughout the day in the Phoenix area, but the temperatures were perfect. And you see a pretty good crowd here. They do well here, average over 4,000 fans per night or day. This is only their third night game of the spring as well. It's the Rangers' third night game so far this spring too. Each team is 0-2 in those night contests, so somebody will get their first win at night this spring tonight. Here's hoping it's the Rangers. Yeah, actually, Kurt Dykert in the truck reminds me that this thing could end in a tie, and both teams do have a tie, and they didn't tie each other, so there was a greater than zero chance that last night's loss would end in a tie. As it was, the Rangers lost that thing 11-10. Swing and foul tip there.
In Kirkman's season last year, he was 13-3 in AAA. He had a good ERA, right around 3. Significantly fewer hits than innings pitched. He had about a strikeout an inning. If you wanted to critique his statistics, you'd say he could probably walk fewer. 68 walks in AAA, and then 10 walks in 16 innings in relief for the Rangers. And so for a young pitcher, that's not unusual to have that many walks. But as he grows, as he matures, one of the ways he can improve is to cut down on those walks. And that's something Mike Maddox pounds into the pitchers every day. Throw quality strikes, keep it down, get ground balls, and don't walk anybody. Not that every pitching coach in baseball doesn't pretty much say the same thing.
That one is a fair ball as Adrian Beltre has no play. Takes a wicked hop over his head, and that will bring in Bartlett to score the first run of the game, a double. But D'Onofrio And it's 1-0 Padres.
Yeah, and Mike Maddox wants them to throw quality strikes down, make the ball sink, and get ground balls. And that's exactly what Kirkman's done. Bartlett's ground ball just eluded the shortstop. And as you see frequently in Arizona, the infield gets baked in the hot sun. It's pretty hard, and that ball is just beaten into the ground. It was not a hard hit ball. It just took the huge hop over Beltre's head, and there's not much you can do about that. But not two particularly well hit balls, but they were well placed.
And it's 1-0. That one's inside. Mike Maddox calls this the concrete jungle because of plays just like that one that you just saw. That's not a ball that in most ballparks throughout the American League would take a huge hop like that, but it went over the head of Adrian Beltre.
No, there's a pretty good chance that if he hits that same ball in the regular season in our ballpark, that it takes a bounce right to Beltre and he has a chance to turn a double play.
Instead, it goes way out there into left field and is a run scoring double for DeNorfie. Michael Kirkman still looking for his first out of the inning, and he's facing Orlando Hudson.
He almost had DeNorfie struck out. He got ahead of him with 2 strikes and threw his breaking ball. He just got a piece of it. He was ahead of Bartlett, and now he's ahead of Hudson.
And this one is grounded to third, and gets behind Beltre again. It's all the way to the wall in left field. That will be another run-scoring double. Back-to-back doubles.
Yeah, that's a little bit different story on that double. That was scorched. That was hit so hard that Beltre couldn't catch it. And if Beltre can't catch it, there had to be something unusual about it. But it was a breaking ball that stayed up a little bit more than he probably wanted it to. Ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes. He's trying to bury that down and in and maybe get the hitter to swing at a bad pitch. But that one caught a lot of the plate. Hudson's a veteran hitter, and he put a pretty good piece of the wood on that one.
And it's time for Jorge Cantu. Pops this one up. It's actually going deep in right field. David Murphy on the run and makes the play. Plenty deep enough to advance Hudson to third base. It's the first out of the inning.
Well, one thing I guess we learned in Arizona is when the ball goes up in the air like that, it tends to carry. Even little balls that look like pop-ups to the infield carry almost to average depth in the outfield. That one looked like it might have been the kind of ball that the right fielder would come in on. Instead, David has to go all the way back to the middle of the warning track to make the catch.
And here comes Brad Hawk. Strike 1 to him. Brad's a Texan. Went to Fort Worth Boswell High School, where he helped the team to a 4A state championship. Currently makes his home in Westlake, Texas, and that's a big swing and a miss. And Michael Kirkman's ahead of him, too. It's 0-2.
That was a good fastball. He got that one, tied him up and in. Had a good velocity on it, and he continues to stay ahead of the hitters, which is a good thing.
Hop's another guy who spent part of a season anyway with the Rays last year. Split his time between the Rockies and the Rays. One's grounded foul. Nice play by a fan over there with a bare hand. And it stays 0-2. That's him, yeah. Made a real nice play. That was a hot shot. And that's a Rangers fan, too. We like to see a Rangers fan outdo a Padres fan for that ball. Good job. Big swing and a miss, and Hawk goes down on 4 pitches. Second out of the inning.
That's a good curveball from Michael. Hop's a veteran hitter, but that curveball was an excellent curveball. Get a lot of left-handed hitters out with that pitch. He was right where he wanted to. Kept it down, didn't hang it. Nice pitch with a man on third base and 1 out. Got a big strikeout.
Chase Headley now loops this one over the head of Andres Blanco. That'll get a run home. Headley's on first base. And it's 3-0 Padres.
And not a bad pitch. He got the fastball in. He jammed Headley, and he was just able to loop it over shortstop for a soft single. But it's the third run, so it's going to look pretty bad. 4 hits and 3 runs in the first inning, but of the 4 hits, the one Hudson hit was really the only one that was hit hard.
The line won't look particularly good on the first inning. Rangers are going to have to dig themselves out of a hole here. The Peoria Sports Complex. Runner goes. Throw from Teagarden. It's good enough again.
Tag right on the hand.
Great tag by Kinsler. Great throw by Teagarden. That's 3 straight runners thrown out by Taylor Teagarden, and the side is retired. Rangers need some runs, though. They trail it 3-0 after 1. Hanging out here in Peoria, Arizona. No doubt likes the start that the Padres have gotten off to here with 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. And now Clayton Richards starts this half inning quickly with a couple of quick strikes to Adrian Beltre. Richard, who needed only 14 pitches in the first inning, 10 of them were strikes and 4 balls.
And Richard was very sharp in the first inning. He's a quick worker. He gets the ball back. He stays right on the rubber. He looks for the sign, and he's ready to throw it.
This one's grounded to short. Jason Bartlett. And Adrian Beltre is out. Richard was a quarterback during his time as a football player at the University of Michigan, and at that time he was the backup to Chad Henne, who was then the quarterback. He only played 4 games, only in mop-up duty, threw 15 passes and completed 8 of them. So after that short of a stint in football, he decided to devote himself to baseball, and this one is grounded quickly by Michael Young. Over to second base, Orlando Hudson makes the play, and there are 2 away quickly as Clayton Richard has gotten 5 up and 5 down. It'll bring up former teammate, former battery mate, Yorvit Torrealba. Yorvit should know what to expect here. A little low for a ball there, and Yorvit, who's hitting .500 on the spring, stands in against Clayton Richard. Another one outside. It's 2-0. That one's right back up the middle. Richard can't glove it, and it's into center field. for the first hit of the game. Jorvik is on first base.
I swear, we haven't done that many games, but every time we've seen Torrealba hit, he's hit a line drive somewhere all over the field. Right center, left center, now up the middle. First Ranger to hit the ball hard. First 5 have been retired, 2 on strikes, and 3 of them on soft ground balls, but that changes that.
And that brings up David Murphy, who has been hitting the ball well, hit safely in 6 straight games during that duration. He's hitting .417, and there's a strike from Richard. That one is a little high for a ball. Saw David's spring numbers. 3 doubles so far this spring, 2 home runs, and those 9 RBI.
Well, if you're in the area and you like baseball, I don't know why you wouldn't come to a game tonight. Even if you didn't like baseball, you get great food out here, sit and relax on a perfect night. Absolutely beautiful.
Perfect night for baseball. And it's St. Patty's Day. You can wear your green out here. My daughter's here somewhere in her green Rangers spring training getup. Rangers are selling that at their ballpark, just like the Padres are here, as Torrealba gets chased back to first base. Richard's a big fella, 6'5", 245. And he gets David Murphy on strikes. Nope.
Catcher's interference.
Catcher's interference.
I don't think anyone in the league gets more catcher interference calls than David Murphy.
So he gets his base.
He's got a knack for it.
David chuckling over there. That's just the way baseball go. So there are runners at first and second. And here comes Taylor Teagarden.
So the catcher reaches for it. David kind of reaches for the ball himself. The bat makes contact with the glove. It sounded like a foul ball.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
But that was the bat hitting the glove.
One of the many ways to reach base in baseball.
One of the real rarities. David had 2 of those called in 1 game.
Swing and a miss by Teagarden there. It's 1-1.
You're talking about Taylor making 3 great throws. You can't make a better throw than he made to end the first inning. As quickly as he got rid of it, the velocity and the accuracy, every component of a great throw was in place. We saw that last night too. He threw out 2 runners in last night's game.
Yeah, 2 caught stealings yesterday, another one today. That's 3 in a row, and this one is sliced into right field. But there to make the play is Garcia, and the side is retired. Nothing across for the Rangers despite a hit and a catcher's interference. We're headed to the bottom of the 2nd inning. San Diego leads it 3-0. Rangers fans enjoying a perfect night for baseball. Not a perfect start to this game per se. 3-0 right now in favor of the Padres. Follow the Rangers this season with MLB.com at Bat 11 for your iPhone, your iPad, your Android, your BlackBerry. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit TexasRangers.com for details. See Yorvik Torrealba there, the designated hitter tonight, just holding court a little bit in the ballpark that once was his spring training home. He's in the other dugout tonight. Padres have the first base dugout here. The Mariners use the third base dugout, and it's the visiting dugout, of course, when someone's playing the Padres. So that's where the Rangers are, over there on the Seattle Mariners dugout. Kind of ironic, they're in the dugout of one of their rivals in the division. Michael Kirkman now with 3 straight balls to Cameron Maben. And that's a little outside, so it's a 4-pitch walk to Maben.
And Maben's not that easy a guy to walk either. Last year, in 291 at bats, he only walked 24 times. So all 4 of those pitches were well out of the strike zone. 3-0 pitch was fairly close, but he was taking all the way on that one. Maben's a kid with great tools. High #1 draft choice. Had a little trouble making contact. Probably was rushed to the big leagues by the Tigers before he was seasoned in the minor leagues.
This one's lifted high in the air to center field. Going back to get it is Bourbon. Still backing up, and it's over his head. Maben was holding at first base. Now he is rounding second and headed to third. There he will stay, as Nick Hundley was right on his heels until they got to second.
Yeah, that's not a good play. He drifted after it. He didn't sprint back to the wall and wait for it. I think he was fooled a little bit by how far the ball went. On this kind of a ball, especially in Arizona, you've got to sprint back to the wall and wait for it. He drifts, reaches up, and ball kicks off the side of his glove. And he's worked hard to improve his defense, and he's done a great job of that working with Gary Pettis. But that was not an example of improved defense right there. That's kind of reverting back to a couple of years ago. That's a routine play that has to be made.
Now this one is popped up into the gap in right center field. Bourbon is there for that.
He sprinted back to that one. He didn't drift after that one. Kind of learned his lesson.
But the run scores on the sac fly by Aaron Cunningham. And the runner advances too. So now Nick Hundley is down at third base. That'll bring up the top of the order Jason Bartlett. Kirkman had 22 pitches in the first inning. And there's Gary Pettis, the man who is charged with teaching the outfielders what they need to know and what they need to learn out there. He's worked a lot with Julio Bourbon over a season and a half prior to this.
And I'm sure Gary's message to Julio will be, hey, you know better than that. We've worked on that. And I think if you talk to Julio, he'll just say, I didn't think the ball was going that far. That happens frequently in Arizona. It's like the ball that David Murphy played in right field. Same kind of a ball. They just keep going and going and going. But when you've played in Arizona enough, you know how that ball carries, so you have to be aware of that. You have to know when the ball goes up, it's probably going to carry farther than it looks, and compensate for that.
Yeah, there's a pretty stiff breeze blowing straight out to center field right now, too, so that certainly should factor into the thought process there.
Yeah, that's what you have to know as an outfielder. You have to know what the conditions are. How is the ball carrying? So when the ball goes up, it's not a surprise, and you just kind of play it like you didn't have any thought process. Ball goes up, you know it's going to carry, you get back a little quicker.
I suppose it is one of the problems. This one's grounded to third. The infield's in. Good play by Adrian Beltre, but Michael can't hold on to it over there at first base. And Bartlett is safe at first. Be an error on the first baseman, Michael Young.
Hard hit smash. Beltre makes the play. I love the way he throws. He just throws flat-footed to first base. Threw a little bit of a sinker. Ball tailed down and in, so to speak, from a right-hand pitcher. Michael gets a glove on it, but couldn't quite come up with it. Well, if Michael can get a ground ball right here, he can still get out of the inning without further damage. Should already be out of the inning, really.
Yeah, Julio makes that play out there. As it is, there's one run in, and it's 4-0 in favor of the Padres. 22 pitch first inning for Kirkman, 17 strikes and 5 balls, and probably approaching that number here in the second inning. This one is driven toward Julio Bourbon in center. He ranges over to get it, but another run comes home on another sac fly, and it's 5-0.
I think every ball that's gone to the outfield has gone farther than I thought it would go coming off the bat. Even that looked like, you know, a fairly well hit line drive, stroke to right field, that the right fielder would kind of go to his left, come in for a little bit. Instead, he went to his left and had to go back for it.
And I wonder, we noticed that 30 minutes before the game, there wasn't a single player on the field. They don't take BP. I wonder if maybe some of those things like the wind would have been worked out during a batting practice session or some sort of session on the field before the game.
Yeah, I think you would have a better chance of noticing that as an outfielder during batting practice while you're shagging, while you're hitting. But at the same time, there's been a number of balls hit out there, and you get a feel for what it's doing. You look up, look at the flags, and nothing else on top of the backdrop in center field. You can see what the ball is going to do, and you know that the ball carries in Arizona well.
Yeah, it's a pretty stiff breeze. You see that Rangers flag, and the rest of them out there blowing straight in the wind. Pitch from Kirkman in there for a strike, and it's 1-1. Orlando Hudson, the batter now. Guy who had the very first hit at Target Field. Hit a first inning single off John Lester. 12th of April last year to record that first hit at that new ballpark, and this is a pretty solidly hit ball into left field. It goes all the way to the wall in left. Rounding third and heading home is Bartlett, and he is in standing.
The two hardest hit balls of the night, two of the hardest hit balls have both been by Hudson. He had a double past Beltre, and then he ripped that ball past Josh in left field. Fastball inside part of the plate. Does a nice job of hitting. Not a terrible pitch, really. It looked like it might have caught the inside part of the plate. Might have been a little bit inside. Put a good swing on it, though.
Back-to-back doubles in the game for Hudson. Back-to-back RBI doubles in the game for Hudson. And the 2 and 3 hitters each have 2 RBIs on the night. And here's Jorge Cantu again. He flew out to David Murphy on that ball that sent David back a little further than we thought it might in the first inning.
All the runs this inning are unearned. If all the plays are made, Michael is out of the inning with basically just the walk to Maben.
Strike to Jorge. Batting 4th in the order for Bud Black tonight. Same spot that he occupied much of his time in Florida last year before the Rangers made the trade for him. He hits this one on the ground and past the diving Andres Blanco. That will get another run home. Here comes Hudson, and he kicks the ball as he slides. Actually, I think he actually kicked it. Kirkman is there to back him up, but he's safe at the plate.
Yeah, I think the throw might have been there in time if Taylor was able to catch it, but the throw was very accurate. A strong throw from Josh on one hop, but as Hudson slid into the plate, the ball caromed off of him.
Oh, yeah, it hit his knee.
Hit right off his left leg.
And And then obviously no chance for Taylor Teagarden at that point as Mike Maddox goes out now to have a little chat with Michael Kirkman and settle him down some. Michael about to face the 8th batter of the inning, who is Brad Hoff, with Jorge Cantu on second base. They ruled it a single and an E7 was how they ruled that one.
Yeah, and I think he gets an RBI. They wouldn't rule the error because the run scored. They ruled the error probably because Cantu was able to get to second base.
Yeah,
it's tough. That's a very tough error for a left fielder. Made a terrific throw on one hop, and you got the bad luck of the ball caroming off the runner.
But the official score has got to get Cantu to second base somehow, and that's how they did it. 7-0 in favor of the Padres now.
You know, all the candidates for the starting position, starting rotation, a couple of times had pitched well early. And Derek Holland didn't have as good an outing as last time. Tommy Hunter didn't have a great outing. Michael's getting hit around a little bit in this outing. So we're all getting a little bit of taste of a little less than success, but just got to battle through it.
That one is caught by Julio Bourbon, and the side is retired, but it is 7-0 as we head to the 3rd inning in Peoria, Arizona. Texas Rangers baseball on TXA 21 is brought to you by Sonic. It's new. It's better. It's the new Sonic Good. And by Grand Prairie Ford, the Texas-sized Ford store. 36 acres and over 1,000 vehicles to choose from. Big hole for the Rangers. They trail at 7-0 as the 9th place hitter, Julio Bourbon, steps in. One of the guys who helped extend that inning. With that early error in the frame that might have helped end it quickly for Michael Kirkman. Clayton Richard, meantime, comes back out, having thrown 14 pitches in each inning, 10 strikes and 4 balls in both.
Nice pitch.
He's allowed only 1 Rangers hit, and he is now working with a 7-0 lead. I remind you that the Rangers had a 7-run lead in last night's game, so don't go to bed yet. This is spring training, and there's a big strikeout and a big wave and a miss by Julio.
Yeah, Richards really throwing the ball well. Well located fastball right there. Kind of tied up Julio, up and in.
Yeah, no lingering effects apparently from the sore shoulder for Clayton Richard. He looks pretty sharp for a guy who was in just his 2nd spring training appearance. Now he's facing the top of the order. Ian Kinsler takes a strike on the inside part of the plate. And this one is ripped into the gap in left center field. Ian is rounding first and headed for second. He'll go in standing. A one-out double by the leadoff man, Ian Kinsler.
It's a good low fastball to hit. Nice swing at that pitch.
Ian's 10th in the Cactus League with his average at .378. Second in the Cactus League with a slugging percentage of .892. And still tied for first with those 5 home runs, 4 of which came very early in the spring. Here comes Andres Blanco as they try to pick off Ian, and he stays put even though the ball got away from Orlando Hudson. A very good throw from Richard, but there back to second base. That one is low and inside, and it's ball 1 to Blanco. He's hit safely in 9 of his last 10 games. That's a .556 batting average in that time, as Andres really seems to be finding his stroke. Many of those have been in a replacement role where he comes in the 6th inning and replaces Elvis Andrus or sometimes Ian Kinsler. Andres, of course, can play second or short.
Last year at this time, the Rangers were shuffling through utility infielders, trying to come up with a utility infielder. Andres was one of the last ones they brought into camp, but they were glad they did. He had the reputation of being a terrific fielder, defensive shortstop, could play all the infield positions. Not quite so much of a reputation as a hitter, but he had close to .280 for the Rangers last year. Had 10 doubles and hit the ball with authority too. He wasn't just looping little base hits to the outfield. He was driving the ball pretty well. When he had to fill in when Ian was out for quite a while, he did a really nice job.
See the focus and concentration of Clayton Richard there, but he walks Andres Blanco on 5 pitches. There's runners at first and second with 1 out for Josh Hamilton. Josh has hit safely in 6 straight games, and he has 6 RBI in that duration. All of his RBIs have come in the last 6. Batting .270 on the spring with 1 homer, 1 triple, 1 double. And the rest of his hits have been singles. This one is sliced into left field. There to make the play is Aaron Cunningham, and Ian Kinsler trots back to second base. So there are 2 away for Adrian Beltre, who's been hitting the ball hard. Even his outs have been hard outs. Starts the night 3 for 6, now 3 for 7 on the season, so the average is just below 500. Seven runs on 6 hits and an error for the Padres. Big swing and a miss from Beltre. 0-2 and 3 errors already for the Rangers. Very uncharacteristic. They've played 4 or 5 games in a row with very clean defense. Really throughout the spring the Rangers have been good defensively. This one is fouled back out of play. Oh, and it bounces back into the field to play. Right past Gary Pettis. And Blanco fields it, if you will. And Gary offers it to a appreciative fan who can take home a souvenir. St. Patty's Day souvenir from the Peoria Sports Complex. Richard grounded to short. Over to second, that's the easy way, and the side is retired. Still nothing across for the Rangers. They trail it 7-0. We are headed to the bottom of the third. Rangers fans enjoying this one out on the grass in either left or right center field. 7-0 though. They're not enjoying that part of it. Colby Lewis pitched earlier today to the Royals AAA team. 5 innings of work, 6 hits, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts. 77 pitches for him and 54 strikes. He actually allowed a couple of runs, but they were on 4-out innings. And the people who were watching were kind of freaking out. What's the deal? There's 3 outs. Why are they still going there? That's 3 outs. And basically they're doing it where he's trying to get his pitches in. And so on a couple of instances, Colby got a 1-pitch out in an inning. So they had him go 4 outs in that inning just so he could get enough pitches in and get up to his total, which was supposed to be right around 80. He got to 77. But a really good outing by Colby Lewis today, and that's great to see. Normally he's been paired with Michael Kirkman. Michael's going to have to hurry to keep his pitch total to 77. He's got 44 through the first 2 innings. Exactly 22 pitches in each of the first 2 innings. No doubt not to the pleasure of Mike Maddox. Grounded to Ian here, and he makes the play. There's 1 out.
And Michael's just glad to see a ball put in play that goes at somebody. He can make a play on it to start an inning. Get a quick out. Michael's thrown a lot of fastballs, a couple of good curveballs. He's had trouble with slider getting it over the plate. Most of them have been down and out of the strike zone. But all the runs in the second inning were unearned runs. There were some balls hit hard at the end of the inning to drive in the runs, but he could have fared much better in that inning. Some plays had been made.
We'll bring up Cameron Maben again. Drew a walk in the second inning and scored a run. Ron Washington talked a lot about that Colby Lewis outing. Loved the fact that Colby kept the ball down. Loved the fact that he worked fast. This one is hit deep to left center field and gone. There's some of that pop that Maben has. His first of the spring on a 2-0 pitch. And it is 8-0.
He fell behind 2-0. Michael looked a little frustrated when he wasn't able to get his breaking ball over the plate, his slider. And 2-0, he came in with a fastball to throw a strike, and Maben jumped on it. High fastball, out over the plate. And hit deep, about 400 feet to left center field. There's a curveball for a strike.
Good start to Nick Hundley. That one's a little low to Hundley, whose father is an assistant football coach at UCLA. And Nick says he's no relation to Todd Hundley, former big leaguer, or Randy. He's Todd's son. 2-1 pitch. A bit low. And it's 3-1. This one is roped into the gap in left center field. It's going all the way to the wall. Hundley rounds first. He's headed to second. He'll go in standing. And Michael Kirkman is not having the kind of outing he was hoping for.
No, the last two hitters have been pretty much a perfect example of how important it is to get ahead of the hitters. You get behind the hitters and have to come in with a fastball, and then when it's belt high, both Maben and Hundley have jumped on it. Maben for the home run, Hundley for a double, both on one a 2-0 fastball, one a 3-1 fastball. Hitters counts, looking for fastball all the way. That's why you see pitchers in those counts that can throw a changeup, something off speed, particularly a changeup, get a lot of outs because the hitter's looking fastball all the way right there.
We are likely to see one of our just-in-case guys. The Rangers, our night is over for Michael Kirkman. We'll talk about the new pitcher and get you set right after this on TXA 21. Smile if you're Irish, lad. A little wearing of the green there as we celebrate St. Paddy's Day on a picture-perfect night in Peoria, Arizona. Picture-perfect for everybody but Michael Kirkman, who has seen his night come to an end prematurely, and Rangers fans will now get a glimpse at Mason Tobin. We've seen him in some late inning duty earlier in the spring. Mason Tobin, a Rule 5 guy that the Rangers got in December, has not appeared in a game in nearly 2 years because of a Tommy John surgery that he had in June of 2009. The final numbers on Michael Kirkman: 57 total pitches. He threw 35 strikes and 22 balls.
Yeah, I guess you can look at Michael's outing in a couple of different ways. One of those days for the Rangers.
Oh, yeah, safe at first base is Aaron Cunningham.
Andres Blanco, usually a very sure-handed shortstop, makes all the routine plays. They just tried to throw this one a little bit too quickly before he really caught the ball. It bounced out of his glove. He makes a strong throw, but not in time.
A pretty quick recovery, but not quick enough, and it goes as an E6. It's the fourth error of the game for the Rangers. And it brings up the top of the order Jason Bartlett against Mason Tobin.
In one regard, you'd have to think Michael Kirkman could have been served a little bit better if the defensive plays were made behind him. But on the other hand, there were a lot of balls hit hard as well. And late in his outing, he was falling behind, coming in with fastballs, and the Padres were sitting there waiting for him and took some good swings. Hit the ball hard.
Fouled back right over our heads and on the roof above us. Andy Hawkins talking now with Michael Kirkman, who has a little bit of a smile, but it's not a happy smile. Not the way he wanted this night to go. As Tom mentioned, some of the other guys before him have struggled in this round of outings, but
Tommy Hunter may have the benefit of the doubt based on his track record. Derek Holland did struggle in his last outing, though. Michael struggled today. So it's a process, and there's a lot of conversations going on about the rotation, but no decisions will be made for some time. Guys are still in the running. You just have to battle through a bad outing and make it up the next time.
In fact, we talked to Wash about some of those decisions that need to be made today, and there was a date put on it. The 15th through the 17th-ish would be the time that they tried to decide about the rotation, and specifically about whether or not Neftali Feliz would be in the rotation or be in the closer's role. And Wash has pushed that back now to the end of next week as they continue to try and decide what's the best way to go there. And there's a walk by Mason Tobin.
It's such a tough call. It's a little bit easier if all the young kids are throwing the ball really well and you're having a hard time deciding who the rotation is going to be because everybody's throwing well. In the event that they're struggling as a group, now it's a little bit more difficult to decide what to do with Neftali. You want him as a closer because there's not another bona fide closer. But at the same time, if the candidates for the rotation are all struggling, there's a little bit of a need in that area too. So I think that's probably what they're going to be talking about over the next week or 10 days. And every day that unfolds with another one of the candidates going out to pitch, I guess you could say that the next outing is the most important one. The most recent one could be the one they're making the decision on.
Michael Kirkman hopes it's not this one.
Yeah, it's disappointing. You know, you come into a game with high hopes to keep the performance going in the right direction, to win a job in a rotation. It's a huge opportunity for a young pitcher. A lot of hard work goes into it all last season, all off season. Now you come to spring training well prepared, and then on a night like this, it just didn't fall into place the way you wanted to. But it's not the end of the world. There'll be another opportunity.
And this one chopped high. And a big hop from Michael Young, and everybody's safe. Here comes another run to score. He slides, and he is in safely. 2 runs come in. We'll wait and see how they rule that one.
I think they probably have to rule it as a base hit, because I don't know that they would have gotten DeNorfia at first base, but there has to be an error somewhere, either on Michael's throw or on Tobin for not catching it. Going to be on the pitcher.
E1, a single, and E1 to allow the runner to get to third. And there are 3 runs home in this inning. Once again, the Rangers have surrendered double-digit runs after giving up 11 last night. They've already given up 10 in the first 3 innings of this ball game. Here's Orlando Hudson. He takes the first pitch strike from Mason Tobin. Wash did acknowledge that, yeah, they were hoping to make the decision. They were hoping to be able to make the decision by this date, the 17th of March, but the decision on all the pitching, the decisions, I should say, there's more than one, but the decisions just aren't there to be made yet. So they'll push it back about a week, a little more than a week maybe. He realizes that whoever it is that will be in the relief role needs to start getting some opportunities to pitch on back-to-back days to get ready for that. Now it's 3-1 to Orlando Hudson. He's got back-to-back RBI doubles in each of the first 2 innings. Mason Tobin pitching him carefully here. Pitch is fouled off.
Even though Ogando and Felice have been stretched out as starters, pitching on a starter's schedule, I think it'll be pretty easy to get them back into the swing of things as late inning bullpen guys, if that's the decision that's made, even if there's only a week or 10 days left in spring training, because they will have been stretched out, their arms will be strong. And I think it'll be pretty easy to get them back into a setup and closer role.
Natali's scheduled to pitch again on Sunday. The 20th is his next scheduled outing. And we will expect him to be stretched out as many as 5 innings and 80 pitches in that outing.
Well, it'll be interesting if he lights it up on Sunday. Pitches 5 innings, gives up a hit, no runs, no walks, and strikes out 8 or 9.
Strike called, and Hudson is out on strikes. Goes down looking.
It'll just add to the drama.
Will it ever? I believe that the Rangers baseball operations staff is completely mixed on what they think should happen. And when we had Nolan Ryan in the booth during the broadcast last night, I think we even got that from Nolan. I mean, I think they all can talk both sides of this thing. They all kind of realize and understand both sides of the possibilities of making Nefty be the closer or having him convert over to starter.
It's just a lot easier for Neffy to be a closer if there's 5 starters that you're happy with. It's a little more difficult not to look at him as a starting pitcher if you're still not satisfied with a couple of spots in the rotation.
There's a strike, and by the end of next week we should get an opportunity to see each and every one of these guys who are in the battle. Michael Kirkman, Derek Holland, Tommy Hunter, Matt Harrison. We'll have seen each and every one of them by the end of next week, so that the Rangers will have a full body of work and all the data available to make an informed decision. And it still could be wrong. This one is driven into the gap in right center field, up against the wall. There's another run home. And Mason Tobin struggling. Jorge Cantu is out there on second base.
Well, it's amazing the way and the Padres are putting a charge in it. I'm not trying to diminish the way they're swinging the bats, but it's amazing how the ball carries. That's a well hit ball. It's not like it's a blooper that turned into a rope. It's a well hit ball, but it's shot out of there like the jet stream on certain nights in Texas.
Proud of McAllen, Texas, Jorge Cantu, who we had a lot of fun with at the end of last season, who had such a big factor, was such a big factor in the Rangers clinching against Oakland, had his first RBI in 83 at-bats, and had his first home run in that game to give the Rangers the 4-3 lead that would stand as their margin of victory in that clinching game. Here comes the 9th batter in the inning. It's Brad Hawpe. Fouls it straight back, so it's strike one. Hawpe was an all-star back in 2009. And a little over a year later, in August of 10, he was waived by the Rockies. picked up by the Rays at the end of last year. Signed as a minor league free agent, actually. Now he's on a free agent contract with the Padres. The 1-1 from Tobin. Low for a ball. Chase Headley led off the inning with a ground out to second base, and he now stands in the on-deck circle. It'll be the second straight night that 10 come to the plate if Mason can't get Hoff. And it's 3-1.
For about all you could say, if you're a Ranger in this game, especially Ron Washington, is I'm glad this is a spring training game.
One of those nights.
Well, these games aren't fun.
No.
But the other side of it is every team has them, especially in spring training. You have them during the regular season too. It's part of baseball, but every team has them in spring training. Doesn't make it any more fun to go through it knowing that when you're right in the middle of it, though, that's for sure.
And especially not for the guys who are under the microscope, if you will.
No.
Pitchers in this case. Julio Bourbon too. I mean, Julio had that key error in the second inning. Some of the younger guys that are under the microscope, and there's a strike from Tobin.
No, Julio's got a lot of potential. The Rangers know that. They're giving him every opportunity. But just like last season, toward the end of the season, Ron Washington put the lineup out there that he felt gave him the best chance to win, and David Murphy was in that lineup. David is a veteran guy, more established, more steady, who still has potential the more he plays to put up bigger and bigger power numbers. And so even a guy like Julio, who's got the inside track on playing center field and playing every day, probably going to get that opportunity. Even Julio can't afford to sit on his laurels knowing that David Murphy's right behind him. You know, the other thing and that you talk about when you look at all the possibilities, Chris Davis has had a big spring. He's a terrific first baseman. Mitch Moreland played right field last night, looked pretty good out there, made some strong throws. So there's a lot of different combinations you can look at. And even though things may seem settled at one point in time, a couple of days later, 3 or 4 days later, things can change in spring training.
Swing and a miss, and the side is finally retired. 10 come to the plate, though, in the bottom of the third inning, and it is 12-0. Rangers trail by a dozen. Sad day for the Rangers organization as we note the passing of Tommy Dunbar, who died yesterday at the age of 51, way too young. Rangers first-round selection in the 1980 draft. He was the 25th overall selection, and you remember him well, Tom, as a guy who played, basically the better part of his career with the Rangers.
Yeah, I was a farm director when Tommy was a bright star in our farm system, coming through the farm system, and then a general manager when he got to the big leagues. He was from Graniteville. He had the nickname Rock. And I don't think anyone that got to know Tommy while he was a Ranger or before he ever got into professional baseball didn't think the world of him. He always had a smile on his face. He was always in a good mood. He always was laughing. And he was one of those kids that you always felt good being around because he had such an infectious smile. He was a good player, really good offensive player. He could run, a left-hand hitter. And that was kind of a shock to find out what had happened at age 51. A lot of people in the Rangers organization remember him fondly and feel badly for his family.
So our thoughts and prayers are definitely with the Dunbar family as Michael Young flew out to center field, and now it's Yorvit Torrealba, the former Padre, who has one of the 2 Rangers hits on the night. And this one is grounded in the hole over cover, making a nice play is the pitcher, Clayton Richard.
That's a nice play. A lot of range by Orlando Hudson. Seen him play with a lot of different major league teams. He had a nice season from Minnesota last year. He's a solid offensive player, but he's a really good defensive second baseman. A lot of range, athletic player. Well executed play right there. Pitcher covering, good timing, nice accurate throw.
Got him by a mile too. Not that Yorvit gets down the baseline that fast, but here comes David Murphy. Reached by virtue of the catcher's interference back in the 2nd inning. You get a pretty good look at those St. Patty's Day caps that the San Diego Padres are sporting. Swing and a miss by David. We've seen a lot of the Rangers green caps around here. In fact, someone offered to give his to Tom earlier tonight. So
yeah, I asked him where he got it. He said, I got it at the gift shop. You want it? Well, that's okay. Just want to know where you got it.
We'll get my own, thank you.
My wife asked me to pick up a couple. She wants to send them to her brothers back in Massachusetts.
Everybody in Massachusetts is Irish, aren't they?
There's a few.
Yeah.
Her family is, that's for sure.
What's her maiden name?
Connery.
Oh, that is an Irish name. We've got Connerys in our family, lad.
Do you?
Yeah, Radigan's an Irish name.
Is it?
Oh, very. County Cork now. We don't get to wear any green. I was thinking about doing the entire game in my fake Irish brogue, but I don't think that would work.
Yeah. After about the 12th run scored, you might be getting a little tired of it by now.
Oh, my gosh.
You'd had to pack a lot of Irish into these 3 innings.
There's a fellow countryman. Faith in
Looks like
Bigora.
that's Evan Grant. Evan Grant's out in the berm.
Just hanging out.
Looking good with that hat on. Got a little lady friend with him out there, too.
Yes, he does. Boy. That's ripped down the line in right field, and David Murphy will go around first and head towards second. He's headed towards third. Murphy is on his horse, and he is in standing at third base. A stand-up triple for David Murphy, who's now hit safely in 7 straight games.
Yeah, and David is not doing anything but make it difficult for Ron Washington to keep him out of the lineup. He had a home run the other day against a left-hand pitcher. Today he rips this ball hard down the right field line against a tough lefty. Clayton Richard throwing the ball well today. It's only the 3rd hit he's given up. And so David just wants to make sure that he's playing well when these decisions have to be made. And I don't think anybody likes David more than Ron Washington, so that's not the issue, really. Ron loves David.
Yeah, not at all the issue. And in fact, the whole decision on trying to make Julio Bourbon be the center fielder is about trying to keep Josh Hamilton out of center field. Certainly it's about developing a good player in Julio too, but the main decision right now is about keeping Josh out of center field. And Julio's a better candidate to fill that role. Fair ball right now than David is. David comes home to score, though, after the triple. And how about Taylor Teagarden with a double and a run? First run of the game for the Rangers.
As we talked about with Taylor last night, all he has to do to earn more playing time is just become a little more consistent with the bat. And there's a lot of potential there because the ball jumps off his bat. He has a lot of power potential, and he doesn't have to hit for a high average. He's a really good defensive catcher. We've seen him throw the last 2 nights, and the Rangers don't have anybody that can throw as well as Taylor. So if he starts to put a little offense behind that, becomes a guy, say, like Mike Napoli, who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Mike's a guy that hits 250 or 260. Mike gets a lot of walks, which helps his on-base percentage, and that's why he's such a valuable guy. But that's the kind of guy Taylor could become, too, because he's got that kind of power potential. Just needs to get a little more consistent with his offense, and there's no reason why he can't become that.
Bullpen chops it to third to end, or to short, I should say, to end the inning. But the Rangers get the first run of the game. They've now got 4 hits. They still trail by 11. We head to the bottom of the 4th.
Captain and Cole at a tip.
Verizon Wireless Fireworks Fridays are back for 2011. Enter Verizon as the coupon code at TexasRangers.com, and you can purchase $10 tickets in select seating areas for Friday night games, excluding May the 6th. Each game will also feature $5 cash parking and a post-game fireworks show set to music by the great Chuck Morgan. And you will definitely want to avail yourselves to those fireworks Friday nights. There's a new pitcher for the Rangers, and it is Pedro Strop, a guy that we have not talked probably enough about in this discussion of pitchers, but a guy who hasn't allowed a run in 5 outings, 5 A outings yet, Tom. Pedro Strop has not allowed a run.
Well, when you talk about potential guys for late inning relief help, Pedro's one of those guys. And if at some point in time Ogando fills a spot in the starting rotation, or Felice, not just this year but down the road, Strop is a kid that throws 94 to 96 miles an hour. He's got a pretty good slider, and he's developing a really good splitter that could give him the edge and make him an excellent bullpen guy. He's certainly been excellent in the minor leagues. He just hasn't been consistent yet in the big leagues, and you have to get over that hump too. The nervousness that goes along with it, the anticipation of pitching in the big leagues. But all the tools are there to be a good late inning guy.
And it's now 2-2 to Cameron Maben. He's gotten a couple of call-ups to the big club as the Rangers just hope that he can translate AAA consistency to the big league level. As a guy who had 235 strikeouts in 194 AAA innings, and this one is Laced out there into right field. David Murphy takes it. Cameron Maben is having a pretty good night for himself. A home run last time up. Walked and scored a run in the second inning. And here comes Hundley. Another guy who's been on base twice. Double and scored a run in the third. Reached on that error by Julio in the second and scored a run. That one's inside from Strope. Strope, one of the three amigos. He and Alexio Gondo and, of course, Nefty Feliz really enjoy each other's company. They have similar senses of humor. Make fun of each other and really enjoy hanging out together. We were having dinner with Darren O'Day last week at one of those outings that we went to. I mentioned Strope, and he said, "Oh, I'm glad you call him by his correct name, Strope, not Strop." That is the correct pronunciation, and this one is over the head of Julio Bourbon. Another ball that carries a long way in the Arizona night, and there are runners at second and third as the Padres continue to hit the ball.
Well, it seems like that's deja vu all over again. We've seen about 4 balls hit the right center field like that by the Padres, line shots that Julio can't get to. No way you're going to get to this ball. It's a rope.
The bottom of the order has done a fair amount of damage here as Aaron Cunningham comes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the runs. Well, 5 of the runs scored anyway have come from the bottom 3 in the order. One of them driven in from there. And this one is ripped. Good play. Hold the runner at third, and great job by Adrian Beltre.
You'll see a lot of that this year. Most third basemen, when they get up and after having caught a ball like that, will take a couple of shuffle steps toward first base. He gets up and just stands flat-footed and fires it over there. It's just the style that he has. It's not easy to get all the velocity you can get on the ball like that. Most guys want to be stepping toward third base.
And the confidence in that arm to take the time to look the runner back at third. It's Maben over there. He did that and then still had time to get the ball over to Michael Young and retire Cunningham. Here's the top of the order. Jason Bartlett at the plate. Twelve runs on 12 hits for the San Diego Padres. We're only in the bottom of the 4th inning. That's in there for a strike from Pedro Strope. That's the kind that can make people right behind home plate flinch. It's caught by the screen, and it's 2-2. Especially if you spent the day and night drinking green beer, you really flinch when the ball comes straight back at you.
You saying those 3 ladies have been drinking green beer?
I'm just saying that might have happened. Might have filled that derby up with beer, and yeah, they don't look like the green beer drinking type. Now those 3 guys next to him, I would say absolutely.
Look like the splitter, and when you can combine a 95-mile-an-hour fastball with that type of a splitter, you'll get yourself some strikeouts. See if you can pitch out of this jam. Second and third, nobody out. Then 1 out. Nobody out. Got the ground ball to third.
Yep.
And the strikeout.
Yep.
Be some pretty nice pitching. Got to slow this progression down. 3, 4, 5. I'm betting they don't get 6 here in the 4th inning.
Sure hope not.
And for a long night if that progression continues.
That is not the numerical
nice
equation
job,
we want to see.
Pitched out of it.
Very nice. Pop out to Josh Hamilton. And he does pitch out of that jam. Still, it's 12-1. We're headed to the 5th inning on TXA 21. Texas Rangers baseball on TXA 21 is brought to you by Insurance Depot. Get a quote in 5 seconds at insurancedepot.com. And by Texas Toyota of Grapevine. If it doesn't say Texas Toyota of Grapevine, you probably paid too much. It is 12-1 in favor of the Padres, and the night is done for Richard. Clayton Richard's night is over. He had 60 pitches on the night. The new man will be Luke Gregerson. Big right-handed pitcher who stands in at 6'3", weighs 202, and set a major league record a year ago with 40 holds. Broke the previous record of 36 held by Scott Linebrink, although admittedly the hold statistic has not been around for that long.
To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you exactly what qualifies as a hold. Anytime you come into a game and pitch and don't give up the lead, is that a hold? I don't really know. I have to find that out.
Good question. We may have to look at the exact data on that. Ian Kinsler will stand in against Gregerson, who made 80 appearances last year for the Padres. A little outside, so Ian's ahead of him 2-0. Double in the third for Ian. One of only 4 hits on the night for the Rangers. That one was hit hard, but foul. Rangers still have the top batting average in the American League at .302. That's number 2 in the Cactus League, behind only Milwaukee, who's still way up there at .339. Brewers are all in this year. There's Thad Bosley, the guy who's been in part responsible for that good batting average. Way inside and upstairs for Gregerson. Rangers are slugging at a .482 clip, and that too is number 1 in the American League and number 2 in the Cactus League, behind Milwaukee, who slugs at .531. Kinsler on the ground to his counterpart. Hudson makes the play, and there's one out. That will bring up Andres Blanco. got 4 RBIs on the spring and has seen his average rise from 154 to 387 in the last 10 games. Strike one for Luke Gregerson.
We don't get a chance to see the National League that much. We're playing every night. But watching Gregerson just throw 10 or 12 pitches, pretty obvious he likes to throw a slider. He's got a good one. Looks like an off-speed pitch, maybe a changeup right there.
Took something off that one too, and it's outside, so it's 2-1 to Andres Blanco. He drew a walk in the 3rd inning. Struck out looking in the 1st. So a guy who's hit safely in 9 of 10 games would like to extend that streak here. There's an outside chance he would get another opportunity to hit, but it's unlikely. Typically in these spring training games, the guys who start the game will go about 6 innings. The catcher usually only goes 5. We're expecting Taylor Teagarden to be replaced by Matt Trainer in the next half inning. Grounded over toward the Padres dugout and foul. Not a huge traveling party. They only brought 1 bus over here down Bell Road from Surprise to Peoria. There's Taylor having a chat with David Murphy on the bench. And this one is lifted high in the air, and it might get a little benefit of that wind. Going back to get it, though, is Maben.
You see Maben go back for that ball hard, stop, wait for it to come down and catch it, as opposed to just drifting back. When the ball's carrying well and you drift, you run the risk of not drifting fast enough and have to reach up. But when you sprint back and then stop, you watch it come down. If you have to make a little adjustment, you've got time to do it.
Yeah, the idea then is if you have to run back in on it a little bit, you're in a better position to do that.
Maben has a reputation of being a very good center fielder.
Here's Josh Hamilton.
Maben comes into his own as a player. A lot of people think he will. He's been with a couple of teams now, 3 teams. Started with the Tigers, went to the Marlins, traded over to the Padres. He'd be kind of a Mike Cameron kind of guy, you would think. Cameron strikes out a little bit. Terrific center fielder, has some power, been a really good player. I think Padres hope Maben can be the same kind of guy.
Josh pops out to the shortstop, and the side's retired. 1, 2, 3, go the Rangers. They still trail by 11 on St. Paddy's Day. 12-1 in favor of San Diego, and there is not much drama left in the ball game. But there was drama on the field moments ago as the Sonic characters were having a little foot race. And look at the tater tot. I mean, I didn't know the book on the tater tot was that the tater tot had that much speed, but check it out. As the tater tot takes the slushy, and they both just waste the hot dog. And meantime, Orlando Hudson starts things off. There, Pedro Strop catches a little too much of the plate there, and it's right into center field by Orlando Hudson. Everett Cabrera is the pinch runner for Orlando Hudson. And Oscar Salazar is in there now with a big swing and a miss for Jorge Cantu. Two balls and no strikes with a runner on first base. That's now Cabrera. After the solid single by Hudson to start the inning. And there's a strikeout for Pedro Strop. Salazar down swinging.
Well, Stroke's given up a leadoff single each inning. In fact, he gave up a leadoff single and a double, second and third, pitched out of it in the fourth. That's a nice strikeout right there. Throwing the ball pretty well.
Brad Hawpe will not be pinch hit for, at least not yet. He'll get another turn. And there's a strike from Strop. Offensively, these guys have gotten so many reps, so many opportunities already in this game that maybe Bud Black can retire some of them a little earlier than expected in the fifth rather than after the sixth. 1-1. Swing and a miss. And it's 1-2 to Brad Hawpe. Chase Headley will be the next batter.
That's the splitter that he's come up with, and that's a good one. When you keep it down like that, you entice the hitter to swing, and then he's out of luck because it dives out of the strike zone.
Bottom fell out on that one. It hit the dirt. Nice play by Taylor Teagarden to stop it. Taylor is still in there, although will be replaced eventually by Matt Traynor. There you go.
After a couple of those off-speed pitches, that mid-90s fastball looks like it's about 102. Brad just wasn't quite ready for that fastball after the off-speed pitches that preceded it.
Back-to-back strikeouts then for Pedro Strop, and here comes Chase Headley. Left-hander against a right-hander. That one's outside for a ball. That's on the outside part of the plate, and it's a strike. Didn't look like the location was that much different than the first pitch, but it's 1-1. And that got behind Taylor. Runners at second. Taylor had a moment where he couldn't find the ball, but finally does with the help of Strop. And Cabrera will hold at second on the wild pitch. Maybe caught the umpire's foot.
I think it did. It misdirected it.
Yeah. So it's 2-1 to Chase Headley. That one's a little low, and it's 3-1, a hitter's count. Headley had a bloop single in the first. Drove in a run. And he takes a walk there as that one is outside from Pedro Strop. So there are runners at first and second with 2 out. And Cameron Maben will come to bat. Talked about Maben's athletic ability out there in center field. He comes from a really athletic family. He's got one cousin in the NFL, Aaron Maben. And his first cousin is Rashad McCants, who was an NBA player and a first-round pick by the Minnesota Timberwolves out of North Carolina back in 2005.
A couple of good fastballs right there. Almost cut fastballs. They looked like they were going just a little bit away from him.
Maben made a big noise with that one back in the 3rd inning. Ironically, the only home run of this game.
Mismatched in that at bat.
Out on
2
strikes.
95-mile-an-hour heaters and a splitter. See you later. Struck out the side.
He did indeed. He faced 5 men, struck out 3 of them. Good inning for Pedro Strop. It's still 12-1 on TXA 21.
Good swing.
It is 12-1 in favor of the Padres. You see that 13 hits that have accounted for the 12 runs. And we remind you that opening week will conclude with a Wednesday matinee. That will be the first dollar hot dog day of the season on April the 6th, and you will want to be there at 1:05. When the Rangers take on the Mariners, get your tickets today at TexasRangers.com or 972 Rangers. Dollar dog days all season long for your Texas Rangers. Lots of changes out there defensively for the San Diego Padres. We'll get to some of them momentarily. First, we tell you about the new pitcher, who is Chad Qualls. Astros fans may remember him from his days in Houston. Split last year between the Diamondbacks and the Rays. He was traded to Tampa Bay at the deadline on the 31st of July last year. Combined to go 3-4. Had a 7.32 ERA and 70 relief outings for Chad Qualls. He was in the Astros organization back in 2007. And he will face Adrian Beltre. quickly ahead of Beltre as Qualls. It's 0-2. We try to make note of the changes here. Not too many so far for the San Diego Padres. Got Everett Cabrera at second base. As Adrian lifts this one high in the air and into shallow right field, and it goes foul just outside the reach of the sliding Luis Durango, who is the new right fielder. Eric Patterson is the new left fielder. Of course, Qualls the pitcher, so the Padres thus far have made 3 defensive changes, and there you see them right there, crystal clear on your screen. It's our spring training signature so far, but it's the right fielder, the left fielder, the second baseman, and the pitcher. Those are the spots we've changed, and you see them right there. Durango, Patterson, Cabrera, and Qualls, who throws the pitch in the dirt to make it 1-2 to Adrian Beltre. We expect him to be replaced by Chris Davis. Perhaps if he reaches base, there will be a pinch runner. Likely that Chris will play third base for the final 3 or 4 innings. Strike called, and Adrian is down on strikes.
Looked like it was going to be inside, but then it cut right back over the inside corner, evidently.
So here comes Michael Young. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Very rare for him, hitting .393 on the spring with 6 runs batted in. 11 hits and 30 at bats, so the average just a little lower than .393 now. And this one is looped into shallow right center field, and diving and making the catch is Cameron Maben. Another one that carried further than we thought it would, and a great play out there by Maben.
Well, you see some athletic ability right there. He's almost in straightaway right field when he caught that ball. He went a long way, laid out, made a beautiful play. Now, San Diego's home ballpark is a pitcher's ballpark with a lot of room in the outfield, and I'm sure one of the main reasons they went out and got Cameron Maben was to have an outstanding defensive center fielder. I mentioned earlier that there's some similarities between him and Mike Cameron, when Mike Cameron was a young player. He looked a lot like Mike Cameron going after that ball. Cameron, a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. Maben looking like he might potentially be the same thing.
Maben caught that thing with authority too. It's not like he just barely caught it in the web of his glove. He caught that thing with his hand. He had plenty of speed, had gotten there in plenty of time. That's what you would call a web gem. And it's Yorvi Torrealba. Two strikes. That one is called on the outside part of the plate. Low for a ball, and it's 2-2. Yorvit has a double in 4 straight games. Only a single so far in this one, so if he wants to make it 5 in a row, need to find the gap here. One of the lines. Count runs full now. 3 RBIs and 2 runs in those 4 games as well. And he's been hitting .667. And he takes a walk there. So Yorvi Torrealba is on. And here comes David Murphy.
Got Jose Ruiz. Looks like he's going to pinch run.
So Jose Ruiz will be the new designated hitter. Verveet's night is done. Probably less than 10 miles from the ballpark in Surprise to this ballpark, but that trip down Bell Road can take a long time in the afternoon. A lot of traffic. It's a straight shot, though, right down Bell Road from one ballpark to the other. We mentioned at the outset, this is the original two-club complex that was built out here in the, I guess it'd be the northwest suburbs of Phoenix. David Murphy on the ground to shortstop. And the easy way is Bartlett to take it himself, and he does, and the side is retired. It's 12-1. We're in the middle of the sixth inning. (12-1) in favor of the San Diego Padres. Not only St. Patrick's Day, but the first day of the NCAA tournament, of course. A lot of the Rangers players filled out their brackets, and like everybody else, saw them go by the wayside with some of the upsets today. Here's the new Rangers pitcher, Brett Topko, who was brought over to Major League camp last weekend and added on Saturday, actually. Finished the loss on Sunday to San Francisco, allowing 2 runs in the ninth. 38 pitches, though. He threw 26 strikes after tossing a perfect 8th inning back on the 8th of March against the LA Angels. So Brett Tomko now in Major League camp with a much better opportunity to break camp with the big club.
Well, you know, stranger things have happened in spring training. Tomko's won 100 games in the big leagues. Didn't pitch in the big leagues last year. You know, if disaster befalls all the candidates for the rotation, Tomko's had some experience, and at least they're getting a look at him right now to see what he can do.
Yeah, you got to have an opportunity. He's gotten that. Earned his way into big league camp. Had a couple of outings in a row. One against Oakland, where he got a save and didn't allow any runs, and one against the Angels, as we mentioned, where he didn't allow any runs. Each of those were 1-inning stints. And that one is line foul into the seats. Oh, caught her on the arm, but she seems no worse for the wear. And that nice fella celebrates St. Patrick's Day by giving her the baseball. Good job, buddy, with the green.
I guarantee she'd rather give that ball up and not get hit in the arm.
Yeah, that'll leave a mark.
Tomko's got pretty good stuff. You've seen all 4 of his pitches so far: fastball, curveball, slider, and the last pitch was a changeup.
Funny story about Brett Tomko told today at camp by Brandon Webb. And Webb, of course, had an outing today. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But talking about a time back in '04 when this one's grounded right back up the middle, just under the reach of Tomko, and it's into center field. Base hit for Hundley. In '04, Webb was facing Tomko. Tomko was at the plate. Webb says he threw the first pitch way inside, right at his face. Then he threw two more inside. And Tomko was just as mad as he could be. Didn't get to face Webb again to retaliate in any way. They met for the next time in the parking lot about 3 days ago. Webb asked him, he says, "Do you remember that?" "Remember it? I've harbored hate for you for 6 years." So
lucky they met that way as teammates, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I said. And I go, and now you're immediate friends. The guy's hated you for 6 years, and he now, yep, he says, now we're buddies. So much so that Webb had the video guys, either Joey or Connor, pull the video of that outing back in 2004, and Brandon says he's got it on his phone now, and he can't wait to spring it on Tomko. He's going to show him that at bat on his phone. That one's outside. It's 2-0. Webb was good again today. He had 62 pitches. The sinker had more sink. Said he threw a couple of really good curveballs. Said he actually threw the worst curveball in the history of curveballs. But he felt a lot better about this outing, and the main thing is he still felt great health-wise. Feels like himself. That one's low, and the count is full. He says he'd like to take the next step, which would be to pitch in some sort of game-like condition. In this case, he said he threw 40 pitches, took about a 2-minute rest, and then threw 22 more. He'd like to do it as the walk is given up there to Cunning, or to Eric Patterson. And now we have another pinch hitter. Kevin Franzen comes in. It's Kevin Franzen with a runner at first and second, and nobody out. Brett Tomko in a little trouble here. And this one is roped into left field. It's going all the way to the wall. One run is home. The other one is stopped at third base, but it's a stand-up double by Kevin Franzen. And the rough night for Rangers pitchers continues.
Boy, they are swinging the bats tonight. Hundley's had a good at bat almost every time up. Had that ball that ended up being an error, but hit to the wall in center field. A couple of well-hit doubles, a shot up the middle. He's had 3 hits. Franzen steps up. First pitch he sees, he rips it to left field for a double. Been a lot of hard-hit balls by the Padres tonight. Not a good night for the Ranger pitchers. Although Stroke settled down and did a good job. He pitched 2 shutout innings, struck out 4. He looked good.
Yeah, he really did. Here's Luis Durango, who's filled in right field for DeNorfia. There's a curveball for a strike from Tomko. And another strike. That gets ahead of him, 0-2. Finish the thought on Webb. He just wants to get a situation where he gets in a simulated game or something where he'll throw 15 pitches, take a break on the dugout, come back out and throw 15 more. Something that more closely simulates what you do as a starting pitcher. You generally just don't throw 62 pitches right in a row and tire yourself out. Said he had no trouble getting loose today. Of course, it was about 90 degrees and bright sunshine. This one grounded and foul down the third baseline. Not sure if that will be the next step in the progression for Brandon Webb. Wash hadn't talked to Mike Maddox yet when we had a chance to chat with Wash. So
I got a feeling they'll kind of go on Brandon's schedule. This guy's a veteran pitcher. I think if he says, "Look, I want to pitch in a simulated game," I think they would be receptive to that.
Another foul in almost the exact same spot. He seems to know the body really well, and he seems to really be enthused. He had a big smile today, not only about the Tomko story, but just about the fact that he's not hurting. He said it was a 180 in recovery time from his first live batting practice session of 62 pitches to his second one. And this one is grounded to first base. Moreland's over there now, and he makes the play to Tomko. The run comes home. Make it 14-1. Both runners advance. Durango drives in a run. Here comes Everett Cabrera. Low and in tight from Tomko. One out here. The bottom of the sixth inning. We're in Peoria, Arizona, where the wind has shifted just a little bit. The flags are not blowing straight out to center field anymore. Still a stiff breeze, but not quite as strong and not in the same direction as it was earlier tonight. And kind of blowing across towards right field now.
Yeah, right field doesn't need any help today, the way those balls are shot out to right center field. A lot of it's had to do with how hard the Padres are swinging the bat, how hard they're hitting the ball, too.
That off day that the Padres took yesterday served them very well. Each team gets one day completely off. And that for the Padres was yesterday. Strike called there. Only the guys who pitch, whose turn it is to pitch, are forced to work on that day. There's a high fly ball, but in shallow left field. Coming on to get it is Chavez, and he holds the runner at third with a pretty good throw. So next Tuesday, when the Rangers have their off day, the same guys who are pitching today are scheduled to pitch. It's Colby Lewis and Michael Kirkman and those guys who are scheduled to pitch. We asked Ron Washington if he would be a part of watching Colby's outing next week, and he said no, next Tuesday's the off day. We said, what about Colby? He said, too bad for Colby.
Yeah, he's not too worried about Colby.
Yeah.
He has to worry about Colby. It's going to be a long year.
Yeah, he said, too bad for Colby. Colby's turn to pitch. He's got to come and pitch. Wash didn't tell us what he'll do on the only off day of the spring, but I bet you he'll have some fun. I bet you'll relax. Long days at spring training, especially when they end with a game like this. 14 runs, 15 hits for the Padres. And a strike called. So it's 2-1. This one is looped. Shallow right center field. Coming on and diving and making a nice play is Julio Bourbon. So Salazar is retired and the side is retired. And the Rangers now come to bat in the 7th inning, trailing it by a baker's dozen. Rangers baseball on TXA 21 is brought to you by Whataburger, just like you like it, and by Sports City Toyota. Come see us at sportscitytoyota.com. More changes for the Padres on this breezy night in Peoria, Arizona, including the new pitcher who will face the Rangers now, and his name is Heath Bell, and he was the Major League Baseball Delivery Man of the Year. That recognizes the outstanding relief pitcher a year ago. His second straight 40-save season. He actually had 47 saves last year. There are lots of Rangers fans still here, getting a look at one of the best closers in the National League. Back-to-back 40-save seasons for him. Not much so far in the spring, but Heath will answer the bell. 2-0. Matt Trainer now up there for Taylor Teagarden. And it's 3-0 as Heath Bell starts off a little slowly here. Only two Padres have ever eclipsed 40 saves in a season twice. There's a strike to Trainer. He's done it twice now. Trevor Hoffman had 9 40-plus save seasons. Big swing and a miss by Trainer, and all of a sudden it goes from 3-0 to a full count. It's 3-2. 47 saves last year by Bell was the second most in Padres history.
Yeah, the Rangers are seeing one of the Padres' better starting pitchers, Clayton Richard, and a lot of their late inning right-handed bullpen guys. Gregerson was a terrific setup man. Bell, you've already talked about as a closer. Pretty good heat right there. Chad Quall is a candidate to pitch late in the games like he has been, setup reliever.
Bell comes back from 3-0 to get the strikeout there of Matt Trainer. Now it's 1-0 to Julio Bourbon. Swing and a miss. In the top of the 7th inning here, Rangers trail it 14-1. Another wave and a miss by Julio. Heath Bell finds his rhythm. This one is on the ground and in the hole. It's out there into right field. A base hit by Julio Bourbon, his first of the night. And the Rangers have a base runner on Heath Bell.
Threw him a slider, some kind of a breaking ball. Julio found that hole, well placed chopper through the infield. Talked about the infields and how hard they get in Arizona. That base hit benefited from a hard infield.
And it's the top of the order, which is now Esteban Herman. He filled in for Ian Kinsler. A couple of other defensive changes along the way. I have to show you our wide shot here in a minute. Jesus Guzman is at third base now. Franzen stays in the game at shortstop. Everett Cabrera is still at second base, and Brad Hoff is still there in at first base. Durango's still in right. Eric Patterson moves over to center. And I think you can tell that it was Mike Baxter out there in left field now. See, right there in left field. That's Mike Baxter out there. I think you can tell that as Patterson has slid over to center field. There you go. Now you see an up close and personal look at the new left fielder. That one's inside, but called a strike. Todd Tichenor behind the plate tonight. It's 2-2. Esteban Herman against Heath Bell. He slices this one down the right field line and fair. It's down and in front of Chris Durango. Herman is in at second base. Holding at third is Julio Bourbon. And the Rangers got a real live little rally going here. Runners at second and third with one out.
A few guys still in the game. The catcher's still in the game. Nick Hundley, see if he can play as deep into the game as A.J. Pierzynski did last week when we played the White Sox. Pierzynski caught the whole game.
Yeah, we pretty much had almost no changes in that White Sox game. That was the easiest one of the spring from a wholesale changes standpoint. And there's a strike to Andres Blanco, who may well play the whole game. He had no scheduled replacement. Andres is usually the guy that does the replacing, but he got the start tonight. Elvis Andrus didn't make the trip. Elvis has more at-bats than anyone else. That one lost the handle and scatters the coaches sitting over there on the bench for the San Diego Padres. Elvis has more at-bats than anyone else in the Rangers organization right now in spring training. He's followed by David Murphy. Elvis started the night with 44. David is now at 43. And Julio's next. He started the night with 38. He's now at 41. So Ron Washington proving to David Murphy that he'll get his at-bats, and there's a strike called on Blanco. He didn't like it, but he'll return to the dugout.
It's kind of a borderline pitch. I'm sure Andres thought it was a little bit high. The pitcher would say it's right where he wanted to throw it. Kind of a high strike.
And here comes Andy Chavez. Replaced Josh Hamilton in the lineup. No home runs for the Rangers tonight so far anyway. They've got 23 in the spring. That has them tied for second in the American League. Kansas City has 25 home runs, so the two residents of Surprise have been hitting the long ball. Not tonight, though. Not yet. 1-0 to Endy. Way outside. Good play by Hundley to retrieve that one with runners at second and third. And the 2-0 pitch. Slice. Foul and out of play. Into the seats. Down the left field line. See Endy's numbers thus far in the spring. Just a 211 average. Had some minor injury issues. And a 2-1. He's fouled off again. That'll be 2-2. Heath Bell converted each of his last 34 save opportunities last year. Saved 47 of 50 and led the majors with a 94% save rate.
It may be one of the biggest reasons the Padres ended up 90-72 last year. They were only a couple of games behind the Giants. They didn't have a real good September. They were 12-16 in September, but they were in contention all the way.
Yeah, they lost 10 consecutive games from the 26th of August until the 5th of September, and really let their NL West bunkmates, including the Giants, back into it. That's a walk.
Best bullpen in the major leagues. They threw 20 shutouts. Second in the league in ERA. So their pitching carried them a long way. They've got a great park to pitch in. Good opportunity for Chris Davis against a top-notch National League pitcher with the bases loaded. Chris has had a hot spring. Swung the bat well last night, had a home run and a double off the wall.
Let's see what he can do here with the bases full of Rangers. And 2 out, facing Heath Bell. Starts him off with a strike. That one's upstairs for a ball.
Bell's kind of a fidgety guy out there. He walks all over the place, tugs at his hat, moves his arms around. As opposed to, say, Neftali Feliz, who
barely moves
to be out there. Doesn't really have much to do with anything. Everybody has their own idiosyncrasies on the mound.
Bell's a big guy. 6'3", 259 pounds is his officially listed weight. 259, not 260. 259. Way high. Seems like when he misses, he misses badly. And it's 2-2. Maybe that's just a spring thing. Brandon Webb talked about that today, saying he's just a half a tick off. And it feels like it's such a huge thing to a pitcher who knows his body so well and knows where he's supposed to be so well. As Davis checks his swing.
Bell's getting a workout in, though.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of pitches in this inning.
Yeah. And here comes the full count pitch to Chris Davis. Runners going. Davis hits it a long way. Did he hit it long enough? Yes, he did. Grand slam, Chris Davis, and the Rangers finally get a big inning.
He launched that all the way over the grass in right center field. That was high and that was far. Bell threw a good high fastball that he got in there for a strike and got that one down a little bit, a little more in Chris's wheelhouse. And he launched it just like he did last night. Hit the home run last night, and a line shot double off the wall. And a lot of Rangers here tonight, and they finally have a little bit to cheer about here in the 7th inning. Most of them have stayed. I think Bell has probably maxed out his pitch count. He might not get through this inning.
Listen.
Good thing about that pitch was on the inside part of the plate. And Chris was able to turn on it and get the good part of the bat on it. He knows that thing's gone. The way the ball's been carrying to right field, there's no way that was staying in here.
Yeah, it's way up that grassy hill out there in right center field, and that will do it for Heath Bell. Rangers get a big one from Chris Davis, a grand slam, the first of the spring, and it is 14-5 now. The Padres still with a big lead. We talk about the new pitcher next on TXA 21. earned that little drink. Nice grand slam home run as the Rangers put a big inning on the board. 4 runs off Heath Bell, and now to the bullpen the Padres go, and it's Randy Flores who comes in now. See his numbers for the spring: an ERA of 3. He's pitched 6 games, 6 innings, 6 hits, no home runs, and 2 strikeouts. And this one is greeted rather rudely by Mitch Moreland, who's also been hitting the ball very well.
And he was a former Ranger, pitched for the Rangers back in 2002. The Rangers, maybe they're saving their firepower for late in the game, kind of like the game we saw last night. Rangers did their damage early, saw their opponent do the damage late.
And that'll bring up Jose Ruiz, backup designated hitter on this night, replacing Yorvi Torrealba in the Rangers lineup. 2 out and a runner at first. Fouls this one straight back to the screen. There's Chris Davis, CD as we call him. One of the hottest Rangers of the spring so far. Ruiz slaps another one foul. So it's no balls and 2 strikes. For Davis, that's now 15 RBIs in the spring. You add the 4 tonight to the 11 he already had. Got reason to feel good about the spring he has put together. All he can do is what he can do. He is certainly making the Rangers coaching staff take notice of the way he's been hitting the ball. Played mostly at third base, but once at first already. Rangers know he can play first. Wave and a miss by Ruiz, and the side is retired. So Randy Flores does his job, but so did Chris Davis with a blast. Listen again. Didn't hear it that time. Believe me, it echoes in the ears of Heath Bell. Rangers make a little noise, and here comes Brad Hopp. As he faces Brett Tomko after Chris Davis put 4 on the board in the top of the 7th inning with a grand slam. And that one is inside. Hop is still in there. 0 for 3 with a walk in the third. A big wave and a miss there, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Nice curveball right there by Tomko. Tomko getting a chance to come back out for another inning. Struggled a little bit in the 6th. Gave up a single and a walk to start the inning, and then a double to Franson.
But he gets Hop on strikes there. Hop didn't even offer at it. And it's a strikeout looking.
Well, after the good curveball, he comes back with a fastball. It's kind of like Hop's last at bat against Pedro Strop, where he saw a couple of splitters, off-speed pitches, and then a good fastball for strike 3. That time it was a curveball and then the fastball.
And now it's Jesus Guzman. Chops that one to short. Andres Blanco makes the play. And there are 2 away.
I haven't had anything close to a 1-2-3 inning yet. We're on the verge of it right here.
Be nice for Tomko, wouldn't it? Mike Baxter now the batter. At 300 at AAA a year ago. With 18 home runs and 72 runs batted in. He's replacing Cameron Maben in the batting order, but he's out in left field. Maben was the center fielder tonight. This one is looped and in there for a base hit. So it still isn't a 1-2-3 inning for the Rangers. Baxter on at first base. And we'll get another pinch hitter for Hundley. Kyle Phillips. He's the new hitter, and you see there they sawed Baxter off and he got it out there. A little Texas leaguer. So Tomko will work from the stretch with the runner at first. And Kyle Phillips up for the first time tonight. Phillips played 74 games at AAA last year. Follows this one straight back and out of play. Off the wall of the press box. In fact, it looked at the window of the press box, and it looked like it was headed right for T.R. Sullivan. But T.R. didn't even flinch. This one is roped into the gap in right center field. It's down for a base hit. Stopping at third base is Guzman. Stopping at first is Kyle Phillips.
I think there's been a couple of times where Padres could have waved home a run, at least made it a close play at the plate, but in this kind of a game with 14 runs in, haven't been quite as aggressive as they might have been if it was a 1-run game or a 2-run game where you really needed that extra run. Tomko, with 2 quick outs, gave up the little blooper to Baxter, and the line drive base hit to Phillips. Trying to get Eric Patterson to toss a shutout inning up there.
Get out of a first and third jam if he does that. The first pitch is a little high and inside for a ball, so it's 1-0. Ron Washington was asked today about some of the struggles that guys who came out of the bullpen, Basically, I think no one was named, but they were talking yesterday about the O'Day performance and the performance by Mark Lowe. And Ron says he's not worried about guys with a track record. Whoever asked the question didn't name names, but that was the clear implication. He says, look, guys with track records I don't worry about on the 16th of March. We believe in them, and we believe they will be ready by the 1st of April. They've proven things like that. Is there a point at which you start to worry about guys like that in the spring?
I don't think so. You know, I think it's a lot more important what you've done over a career, what your track record is, than how you've done in a couple of weeks of spring training. Anybody can have a really good week or a really bad week with 25 at bats or 11 or 12 innings. I think you have to put a lot of credibility in that, provided the guy's healthy, in good shape, throwing the ball fairly well, swinging the bat fairly well. Just might be going through one of those down periods. Sometimes it doesn't seem fair that a guy without a track record could do so well and not make the team. But I think that's just the way it is. It's common sense that if you've done it before, there's reason to believe you can do it again.
Runners at safe at first base. Baxter comes in to score. It's an infield single, and there are runners at first and second.
Patterson just beat it out. A little chopper. And he can run pretty well. Herman flipped it quickly, but without much on it. I don't think he had a good grip on that ball. He almost threw a changeup to first base. Patterson beat it out.
That high chop in the concrete jungle had a little something to do with that base hit as well. And now it's Kevin Franzen. And an RBI double in the 6th inning. See if Tomko can get him here. Brett got those 2 quick outs, but was allowed the next 3 to reach, all with singles. And it's 15-5. It's into the Rangers dugout on a hop and back out. There's our, look at there. Mike's down there. Camera guys are in the line of fire sometimes. Dodged a bullet there, Mike. This one's grounded to second. And the side is retired. So Brett Tomko gets out of this one, but not without surrendering another run. It's 15-5. Rangers trail again by double digits. 15-5, but there's still reason to smile if you're a Rangers fan. It's spring break, it's St. Patty's Day, and you're in Arizona enjoying it all. With a Rangers 20-game plan, you'll save up to 33% off box office prices and lock in the chance to purchase postseason ticket strips as well. Secure your same great seat and choose a preset plan or create your own schedule. Visit TexasRangers.com for details. Here's Doug Deeds, batting an even 300 now on the spring. Big cut and a miss. Deeds had a couple of home runs early in his spring campaign and has 7 RBI. But he's behind 0-2. Strike 3 called. Doug Deeds is down on strikes.
2 strikeouts in a row for Randy Flores. Got him looking at the sliders early in the count, then snuck the fastball on the inside part of the plate. I think Doug probably thought that was a little bit inside, but Flores got the call.
That'll bring up Matt Trainer. $6,144 people here tonight. Some of them dwindling now, but that was the crowd at the Zenith, and there's Matt Trainer with a nice shot into left field. So a 1-out single for Trainer. And here comes Julio. That's Matt's 4th hit of the spring. He's 4 for 12 now. Log jam at catcher with Mike Napoli getting some of the reps and Jorvik and Taylor Teagarden. Matt hasn't gotten just a ton of opportunity in games thus far. But he makes the most of one opportunity right there with a 1-out single.
Yeah, Matt had one of the biggest hits of the year last year when he hit that extra base hit down in Florida to win a ball game late in the game.
Yeah, against his former team, you had to feel really good for him that night.
That was a big one.
It was a triple to win that game.
Right in the middle of a Ranger winning streak.
It was a strike to Julio Bourbon. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, hard to decide whether Matt or Andres Blanco was the better find right at the end of spring training last year. They were 1 and 1A.
That was a good road trip for the Rangers. They swept in Milwaukee. Kobe Lewis had a great game against Giovanni Gallardo, beat him 4-2, and actually had a big hit to drive in a couple of runs on a 8 or 9 pitch at bat where he battled, finally got a pitch to hit, hit a ground ball down the left field line to drive in a couple of runs.
Strike 3 called, and Julio Bourbon heads back to the dugout. That's 2 strikeouts, both looking in the inning. And here comes Esteban Herman.
He got up a couple of hits and 3 strikeouts in his 5 batters. Randy Flores, slider. Julio knew that was strike 3.
Yeah, he didn't even hesitate as he headed back toward the dugout. Herman had a double in the 7th. It was one of the 4 runs that scored. Chris Davis hit his grand slam. That was the only big inning for the Rangers. On a night when the Padres have had nothing but big innings. It's not actually true. They had 3 in the first, 4 in the second, 5 in the third. Then the Rangers pitchers put up a couple of zeros. But 2 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th inning make it 15-5 in favor of the Padres. They've tripled the Rangers' run total. They've doubled the Rangers' hit total. It's 18-9. A very uncharacteristic 5 errors for the Rangers. I guess maybe you look at it like, hey, at least we got all our errors in the same night. Full count now to Herman. Fouled off the protective screen in front of the Rangers dugout. Trainer will head back to first base. A little chilly for the natives here. It's awfully nice for us. Don't feel cold at all, but the local Arizonans are in sweatshirts. Bundled up with a blanket. Another foul in the same spot. Another chance for Trainer to head back. Indiana Jones is here.
He's bearing down, boy.
He is. Yeah, there's the Notre Dame mascot who's got a big night tonight. It's the night for the Irish. 5-3 goes Esteban Herman. And the inning is over. Hi, Faith and Bigora, lad. Have a happy St. Paddy's Day, will you? We're back for the bottom of the 8th. Fifteen to 5, and it is all thumbs up if you're a Padres fan. Why not? They're out in front by 10 runs and having fun on a beautiful night. Great night for popcorn or green clothes or green beer. I guess they're not selling green beer here. That looks like the normal colored frosty beverage out there. It's the night for green beer, though, as the Rangers now send another pitcher out there to the mound. Brett Tomko's night is over. It's Ryan Tucker's turn. Ryan acquired on a waiver claim in early October from the Florida Marlins. One of those things that may have gone unnoticed by Rangers fans. Early October was a busy time as the Rangers were beating Tampa Bay, but John Daniels and his crew saw a guy they liked out there in Ryan Tucker, clear waivers, and they grabbed him. And now he's got an opportunity in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Padres. And Luis Durango. Tucker actually made it to the big leagues pretty quickly for Florida. He was the first of their 2005 draft class to reach the majors in 2008, but it's the only year of his career that he actually has pitched at the major league level. 2-1 from the big right-hander is high for a ball. It's 3-1. There's a strike called, and the count runs full. 3-2 on Luis Durango. And that one is chopped down the first baseline and foul. We'll do it again at 3-2. Yeah, it seems like at this juncture in the game, the umpire might give the benefit of the doubt to fair as opposed to foul there. No doubt about that one being fair, and oh, it's under the glove of Esteban Herman and into right field.
We said it about 5 times tonight. This is just one to forget. When this one's over, come back out and try to get a little better tomorrow. But the pitchers have been hit pretty hard. 18 hits, and the fielders have had a bad night too. That's the 6th error on the night. I guess the one pitcher that really looked good tonight was Pedro Strop. Gave up a few hits, but boy, he pitched out of a 2nd and 3rd no-out jam, struck out 4 in his 2 innings. Probably the one pitcher that has looked the best tonight.
Ryan Tucker's in the dirt with that first offering to Everett Cabrera.
And the Padres have hit enough balls hard tonight where you can't just say it was the defense. But the pitchers would have fared a lot better if all the plays got made. Who knows what would have happened in some of those long innings if early in the inning some defensive plays had been made.
That one's hard hit right behind Tucker and right up the middle into center field. Oh boy. I looked away to mark it in my scorebook. What happened there?
I did the same thing. I just saw the errant throw. And I mean, on the ground ball single to center, you don't assume that something bad's going to happen. Let's see.
Is it from
the throw comes in.
Throw? E8 on the throw.
Actually, he threw it to third, and Chris Davis wasn't looking. It was 1st and 2nd, and Chris didn't anticipate there would be a throw to third. There's no play at third base. Generally, that throw would come into the cutoff man, but I think the cutoff man had gone for the ball, so there really wasn't a cutoff man. And Julio had a choice. He could have run in with the ball and just made sure that no one moved up. He could have just tossed it to someone, even though they weren't in position to be a cutoff man. He instead threw it to third, which is really nothing wrong with that. It's just Chris didn't expect it. The throw was fairly accurate, but Chris had his back turned to the side and reached back with his hand, couldn't get it, went back, and both runners moved up for an E8. Actually wasn't an errant throw. Just no one was ready for it.
Still, you get the feeling that Julio might be sitting with Gary Pettis on the bus ride home.
No, that's one. If Chris expects the throw.
There's a good throw from Chris there.
Chris has a good arm.
Yeah.
If Chris expects the throw and catches it, no one even notices that the throw came into third base. It really was, can't say anything wrong with the throw.
Right.
Just Chris didn't expect it. You get a good look at the arm strength that he has at third base. You don't expect a first baseman to go over there at third base and throw like that. But he's played well at third base. Arm strength, definite plus for him over there.
Here comes Logan Forsythe. There is one out. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Another Rangers pitcher, Ryan Tucker, working out of a jam here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers trailing it by 10. this point would just like to get on the bus and get on out of here.
Boy, I can't remember the last time I saw a team with 7 errors in the game.
Certainly not a Rangers
I don't think we
team.
have to worry about seeing it again soon.
No. They have been very clean defensively.
Get it out of your system.
So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Logan Forsythe. Spent the season at Double-A last year. Played in 170 games. Drove in 38 runs. He's got a chance to drive in a couple here. Ryan Tucker a little outside and careful with that one, and it's 2-2. There's a strike called, and he is out of there. He doesn't even move the bat, and Logan Forsythe goes down on strikes. It's the second out of the inning, and it brings up Jesus Guzman.
Pedro Strop pitched out second and third, no out jam in his first inning. Maybe Ryan do the same thing right here.
That one's in the dirt. First offering to Guzman. Blocked by Matt Trainer, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Last game of 5 in a row against National League West competition. And the Rangers have not fared too well against the National League West here in Cactus League play. There's a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Tomorrow we'll be in Goodyear, Arizona for the Cleveland Indians. That game will start at 9 o'clock on TXA 21. Don't forget about the pregame show at 8:30 in the dirt. And it's 3-1. And this one is chopped toward short. Making the play is Blanco, and Tucker does get out of that second and third jam. It's still 15-5, though. We are headed to the 9th inning, mercifully. Some festively green-clad Irishmen. Everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day, you know, and they're all clad in their green and ready for some St. Paddy's Day fun, perhaps after the game as well. A few more Irish folks on this St. Patrick's Day. New pitcher is Ernesto Frieri. We don't have a lot of data about old Ernesto. We hope he works quickly and smoothly. And he'll start with Andres Blanco.
A nice play by Blanco to end the last inning. What's been a ragged defensive game. That was a high chopper, and he had to get rid of it quickly and make a nice play.
And there's a strike. Strike one from Frieri to Blanco. There are the spring numbers for Ernesto. No record. .450 ERA. And it's 0-2.
And Frieri had some kind of season last year. He had a 1.43 ERA in AAA, 14 hits in 37 innings. 49 strikeouts in 37 innings. Got called up to San Diego. Had a 1.71 ERA in 33 games, 31 innings, 18 hits, and 41 strikeouts.
A little low with that one, so it's 1-2.
He's just not a young guy trying to get some work in. He's a fairly young guy, 25 years old, but he's coming off a great season. 69 innings.
And ripped into the gap in left center field. Over there to make the play, though, is the left fielder Baxter. And there's one out.
He pitched 69 innings and only gave up 32 hits and struck out 90 batters in AAA in the big league. So he's a guy they're counting on this year, you'd have to think, with those numbers.
Yeah, his called up to the big league numbers is somewhat reminiscent of what Michael Kirkman did after being called up, although I guess Ernesto had a slightly larger sample size than Michael did. Michael was the starter in tonight's game. Did not fare too well. Really only Pedro Strop has had a good night as far as the Rangers pitchers go, and there's a strike to Andy Chavez. It's 1-1. Rangers on the verge of falling below 500 in the spring. With the loss, they'll be 9-10-1 in Cactus League play. Wave and a miss by Andy Chavez, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And they will remain winless at night. We've got 3 more night games here in the Arizona sky, and then a couple of night games, one in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, one in Round Rock. There will be 8 total night games during the course of the spring. And then, of course, a steady diet of night games in the regular season, especially once the heat moves in Texas. This one is grounded, foul, down the first base line. And he had a walk in the 7th inning and rode home on Chris Davis's grand slam. Way outside from Frieri. And the count runs full. And this one is sliced into left center field. Coming on to make the catch is Eric Patterson. And there are 2 away.
Hasn't been a good defensive game for the Rangers. The Padres have made some nice plays, though, especially in the outfield. Maben made a terrific diving play. They've run down some balls, made some nice plays in the infield, too. Orlando Hudson made a couple of really good plays.
And that might be the hat of the night right there as we try to put a cap on this game. Oh, it's a beard too. I thought it was her hair. Faith in Vigora. She's a little leprechaun, isn't she? Chris Davis now stepping in. She's got an Irish face about her too. She's right off the boat.
The more you talk like that, the more I'm starting to get used to it.
Starting to get used to it. Kind of wishing I'd done the whole game like that.
No, but maybe starting in the 6th inning, it would have made the last 3 innings go a little better.
The Irish always end their sentences with a question.
I like the way they talk.
They end the sentences with a question, don't they?
I don't know about Irish, but do you ever notice how people with an English accent sound smarter than we do?
Oh, there's no question.
They can say whatever they want, but they sound smarter than we do. Why is that? They don't think we sound smart.
No, sadly. Maybe that's because we don't. I don't know.
Because we're not.
Yeah. Davis hits this one high into left field, but not quite deep enough. There to get it is Mike Baxter, and this St. Paddy's Day game is over. No pot of gold at the end of this rainbow for the Rangers. They lose it 15-5, and we'll be back with more right after this on TXA 21.